Thousands of people have been killed nationwide by firearms since December 14th, 173 of them children under the age of 12. Joining me now is Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty of Connecticut. Thanks so much for joining me this afternoon, Congresswoman.
Well, thank you so much.
And I want to tell you our thoughts are with you as you and your community prepare to mark this grim anniversary. I want to pick up on where the president left off. He called for stronger legislation. There was a strong legislative push. Newtown families, a lot of members of your community fought for stiffer gun legislation. It didn't happen. Do you have confidence that you can see stiffer gun legislation passed, expanded background checks within President Obama's second term?
Well, we certainly ought to see action. Whether we will or not is going to depend on the political courage or the political cowardice of my colleagues. We have been seeing action in the states. We've seen some real standout states like my own state of Connecticut, like Colorado. But frankly, as we've seen at the federal level, we've been stymied. But let's not forget, there was a majority bipartisan vote in the Senate. It wasn't enough to get around the procedural block, but there was support for enhanced background checks.
And Congressman Esty, I want to just put up a graphic. More states have actually loosened laws than enacted stiffer gun laws. When you look at this, does that dissuade you at all? Does it make you give up hope that you can actually see stiffer legislation get passed?
Not at all, because I'll tell you what has really happened since Newtown, what I've seen happening, what I've felt happening in this country, is that the families of Newtown, with their courage and their leadership, have helped ignite a movement. They've opened the eyes and opened the hearts of Americans. So it may take longer for Congress to get that message, but I assure you the American people do, and that's why we're seeing so many families, so many communities, whether it's Chicago or Washington, D.C., or Aurora or Newtown. We are seeing support in the American people, unparalleled support for common sense gun laws, and we will not give up. We'll keep fighting as long as it takes to get that action here in Washington.
And you talk about that fight. Newtown families were here in Washington this week passing out pamphlets to lawmakers on Capitol Hill, as you point out, continuing that fight. What does this battle look like on a day-to-day basis for you?
Well, it's one that requires a great deal of persistence, but I will say in the last month we've picked up 2 additional co-sponsors for the enhanced background check in the House of Representatives. It's a slow process, but you know what? We cannot allow the NRA to run the table on this. The American people support these changes, and we in Congress, who see the wisdom of this, we can't give up either. We have to keep fighting for this.
And I want to ask you more personally, how will you mark this anniversary, and how has the community healed since last year? Has it at all?
Well, certainly people are grieving each in their own way and healing in different ways. I've been struck over and over again by the leadership from the town leaders, from First Selectman Pat Lodra, through the interfaith group of clergy, to the families, people like Monty Frank, who has been leading the charge with rides to Washington, persistent attention. Saturday is going to be a solemn occasion. There's a private memorial mass that the community will be participating in. I'll be joining them in that and marking it with a day of service and an act of kindness. I'll be helping with laying wreaths at a veterans cemetery this weekend, and that is what the community has asked. They've asked Americans who want to support them, who want to support Newtown and healing, to observe acts of kindness in their own communities. Because, again, this is about grassroots change. It's change from the bottom up.
All right, Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty, again, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And again, our thoughts are with you and your community at this time.
Thank you. We appreciate it.